Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Yay!
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 Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Carolyn.
Looking very beautiful today.
Thank you, as are you in purple. Purple is your signature color. If you're tuning in to the very first time to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live Tonight podcast, we're happy to have you here. Carolyn's signature color is purple. So you've caught her on a signature night, which means she's probably going to say amazing and stunning things that you will not want to miss, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got it going. We have so much to say today.
That's right. I want to give a little shout out, just in case he's here with us tonight, to my dear new friend, Jonathan. I should have had him text me the pictures of him at the warehouse, Carolyn, with the staff and touring with us. But Jonathan Dewicki, who is part of the Vital Choice Project, you met in Arizona. He came over to the warehouse last Friday, and we had a great time. And just wanted to give him a little shout out. And then we've picked up so many great practitioners, Carolyn, as well, that are using their formulas, our formulas in their offices and stuff. I thought maybe we should add a little segment, Practitioner's Corner or something, so we can feature some of the great people who are using the formulas in their practices.
There's so many corners, but let's just remind people, though, the Vital Choice Project is a project where, Garrett Pagel wants to teach pre-med students something about nutrition, kind of along the MAHA approach, before med school, so their brains don't rot in medical school with all the horrors and the drugs. They know, oh yeah, they're telling me about hypertension, and now they're trying to tell me hypertension is bad at 120/80.
Yeah.
We have lowered the level of hypertension so that now everybody's going to be on hypertensive drugs. So if you learn about nutrition, you know, well, hypertension has to do with lack of magnesium, a lack of vitamin C, and a horrible diet and horrible stress. So that's the Vital Choice Project. And yes, if we had a category, I mean, Julie and I met this family last week, Tuesday, at the market, and they were treating us like we were rock stars because their lives have been changed because of even just listening to me. I don't even know how many of them are on all the formulas, but so there's that category. There's our over 80 club and Newman in our over 90 club. There's so many categories of wonderful people who are getting benefits from just doing our basic formulas.
That's right. And they're going to continue to grow because we're getting ready to add all of the military, Carolyn. As you know, certified for sport, the U.S. military has come out, and the Air Force and the Marines and the Navy, all branches of military have come out and said that athletes and special forces and other leaders in the military need to be using certified for sport products. They're going to be sold on commissaries and that kind of thing. So we've got military coming in, and we've got all of our great practitioners, and we've got all the athletes that are coming in. I mean, they're just all piling on the bus.
Yeah. And certified for sports, it mainly means that we have done the due diligence and paid the price to laboratory tests, third-party lab tests, all our formulas for like everything, because they don't want drugs being kind of put in there by by mistake, or in order to enhance somebody's performance. And you say, oh, this is a great natural supplement, I'm going to take a lot of it, and then people end up on drugs. So it's a worthwhile endeavor, because the supplement industry has just been flooded with charlatans that they'll sell something, put a drug in, or high doses of something, so people get a good reaction, and then when they're found out, they just shut down their store and move down the block online, because you can so easily do that. So NSF certification has become necessary for quality companies like ours.
And also made in the USA. Part of NSF is made in the USA, and that's very important too. The U.S. military wants to support brands that are made in the U.S., and we are made in the U.S., which means we're not made in China and India, where raw ingredients are inundated with heavy metals and toxic poisons, so that aren't necessarily third-party tested. As a matter of fact, here's another category: friends. I was with lunch with my girlfriend this weekend, and she was telling me that she takes Remag and Remite, but she was telling me that she takes some kind of a fruity combination product. I can't remember what she called it, but it's like a multi-mineral. And I said, well, here, let's just look right now on my Supco app, and let's just find out what their score is. Well, their score was only a 5. And
Out of what? 5 out of what?
Out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And the products are made in China, and there's no heavy metal testing.
Oh.
And her face just drained of all of its blood. And she's like, oh my God, you mean I've been taking multi-minerals that haven't been tested for heavy metals? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God. Well, what am I supposed to do for heavy metals? And I said, take Remag. So you're all right. But people don't even know what they're taking.
No.
They don't know what
It's Supco. Can we tell our audience about Supco? Are we on there? Tell us.
Yes, Supco, SUPP.co. You'll want to go to your app store for Android or iPhone. And it's an app that you download on your phone, and you're able to check the rankings and the performance of your, let me find it here for everybody, and I'll show you what the little picture looks like. It looks like that. And you can type your supplement name in right here, and then you can get the ranking and how it's tested and what the quality is and so on and so forth. And of course, our products to test very high. We're in the top 2% of all the dietary supplements, 260,000 different products, people.
Wow.
So you really got to do your due diligence, because like I said, she considers herself a conscious consumer, and she was shocked.
Yeah. And this is Mark Hyman's work. Mark has been around. I knew him in New York, and he's gone through a lot of health challenges. I mean, on a podcast the other day, because I have a critique of one of his podcasts coming up, and he was saying, yeah, I had back surgery a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's going through a lot, but I guess what he and a few friends decided is, we don't know what our patients or our viewers are taking. And he and his friends started this company. And the last time I talked to Jenny about it, they had looked into 700 companies. And ours was, as Jenny said, up in the top 2% of the highest quality of supplements. And we're just a little company. So it's a very worthwhile company operation. Before this, it was consumer, what are they called? Consumer health or something?
Consumer Labs, but Consumer Labs was very limited. They did not This is an interactive app. You can go in, you could put your health goals in there. You can say what supplements you're taking. They'll tell you what's incomplete about your program for your health goals. They'll recommend other products to you if you're lacking something. Like, let's say you wanted to take a creatine. Well, Carolyn's never going to make a creatine. So you want Supco, you put all your products in, and then you say, well, I want to take a creatine. And it says to you, well, if you want to take one and you want to keep in the ranking of where you are, because you're already at the top 2% of the industry, you're not going to drop down to some low-level brand made in China. You're going to stay high, and you're going to look for something that has the same kind of trust score that we have, and then you can choose from that. And you can shop right on the app. It'll take you to the website. It'll take you to their Amazon site. So you really have an all-in-one service there, much more comprehensive than Consumer Labs, which also was very corrupt. Oh, did I say that?
Oh, yeah. I think they had funding from sources that we would not approve.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So yeah, Supco's great. So get on there, participate. But we've got all kinds of fun things happening for everybody. And Carolyn says we're small, but we're like Carolyn. We're small but mighty, because we're in so many countries and we have so many people around the world who are consuming our products. But we're small because a lot of times Carolyn and I just think it's just her and me and a handful of staff, but it's really quite extensive.
Right. Right. Actually, when you were talking about small and mighty, I was going to show my muscles for the umpteenth time, but I held back. I held off.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So here we go. Oh, I wondered about doing this little rant, but so here's what happened. So maybe it was my foster daughter who in her latest series, she's a painter. She painted the most beautiful nuns. And she said she was moved to begin this series because she started reading the Bible in January 1st. And, when we first fostered her and her twin brother, they came from a Christian family. And they had like 12 aunts and uncles, and nobody would take them in after their mother died. So I think that might have pulled her a little away from her church. So she was inspired to do these paintings. So I thought that it's just so beautiful, and I'm buying one of them. And then I began thinking of the evil that we seem to be seeing in the world these days, like, really hot, really, up close. And people are wondering, well, what the heck's going on? But this is not new. So then I thought of the Lord's Prayer in the 23rd Psalm. And here's some of the phrases in the Lord's Prayer: lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. So that we were kind of being protected back then with these words. 23rd Psalm: yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. So to me, they're reminders that evil has always been between us and among us, and that we can, in knowing that, we can, I guess, get a little bit of a detachment and live our life in grace. So what do you think, Jenny? Oh, I can't hear you.
Oh, what's going on? Okay. Yeah. I think it's beautiful, Carolyn. And I'll tell you, I agree completely. And the other thing is, you always have to remember the odds are stacked against the evil one, because there's one God and Satan is not a God. And then there's 2/3 of the angels are with God, and only the third fell, which is definitely 2-1. And so there's no hope for any of them. So you just have to basically ignore them, Carolyn, I think. And I agree with you, and just live in grace and trust. And the Bible says that God does not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So you've got power, you've got love, and you've got a sound mind. And that is the deliverance from evil. So, don't give it any space.
And a sound mind What are we talking about today?
That's right. Your brain on magnesium, which is a very sound mind.
Oh, that is so funny. This was not planned. This is all impromptu. So the book we're talking about today in the library, actually there are two, Ginny. There's the Complete Guide to Mental Health. It'll be in the library slide there that Rachel puts up, and the Magnesium, the Missing Link to Total Health. So your brain on magnesium. I mean, this is so crucial. If we don't have a sound mind, if we have brain fog from yeast overgrowth or from lack of nutrients, or a bad diet, because sugar can sort of fuzz out your brain, all those things. If that's the case, then we are subject to someone coming along and saying something nasty to us and us taking it personally or reacting. You know, we do want to have a sound mind, and also it's got to do with longevity. So currently, I'm preparing a talk on longevity for my monthly wellness talks here in Maui. So I focus on how our cells and tissues function as we get older and what we can do to best support them. Um, so medicine, it really, allopathic medicine, it does not have a longevity subdivision. Alternative medicine, maybe so, but they've gotten into extensive testing, full body MRIs, genetic panels, you know, doing your 23andMe and biochemical markers. They're looking for risks and try to intervene. And even one of the therapies that I came across is blood doping. Now, that's a method that athletes have used to enhance their athletic performance by giving themselves a shot of red blood cells before a game or a run or whatever. Um, and I've heard it improves oxygen delivery to the muscles or something. But I've heard that this Brian Johnson is he's getting blood transfusions from his son as part of his anti-aging protocol. So sounds really vampirish to me. But so Brian Johnson, he's a world famous, apparently, biohacker. He's a multimillionaire. Apparently he's spending $2 million a year attempting to reverse the aging process and trying not to die. And, you know, let me just say that Ginny and I, no, Julie and I, Ginny, met a couple of young guys on the walk yesterday. And what was it? Oh yeah, the scene was that they were really stressed out from the walking. They were just sitting on one of the stone ledges, just, you know, collapsed. And we said, "What's going on?" And they said, "We can't take this walk." And how you know, how far are you guys walking? And we said, you know, 3.5, 4 miles. And they, what? And after a while, Julie tells them that I'm 76, and they just went crazy because they couldn't believe it. So anyway, what I would say to Brian Johnson is just take my formulas. You know, just don't hold the $2 million. Support a biodynamic organic farm like I'm doing so that you can keep people eating proper foods. But anyway, let me get back to my script. So, besides blood doping, they're using a lot of medications. They're using metformin, which is a diabetic drug. And I think what they find with some of these drugs is over the years that they're used, they say, oh, people seem to be healthier with this drug. So all of a sudden they make metformin a anti-aging drug. And there are several more. There's 2 cancer drugs that supposedly together. So there's true drugs they want to give you to increase the lifespan of mice by 30%. And my critique of rat and mouse studies is that these animals produce their own vitamin C, so any toxin or drug you give to them will stimulate extra vitamin C production, and that will interfere with any study results. And that reminds me of the Mildred Seelig. She wrote The Magnesium Factor. She was a magnesium expert, not a lab researcher, but she was an expert. And when she first got out of med school, she went into the drug industry. And her job was to assess what happens to the body's nutrients when you take medications, like what happens to your vitamin C, magnesium, vitamin E, all that. And she was stunned to find out that any drug given to one of their study participants would elevate the levels of magnesium in the bloodstream. So she thought this was like amazing. I mean, magnesium would come out to detoxify the drug. And in doing so, she theorized that magnesium was actually part of the positive results of supposedly this drug. So she alerted her bosses, and they either fired her or just slowly got rid of her, or quickly got rid of her, I should say. And she became a lifelong magnesium expert. So sidebar over. The global anti-aging industry is worth $40 billion. They've focused a lot on cosmetic procedures. They're now targeting women in their mid-20s, urging them to start Botox as a way to prevent crow's feet and frown lines. I mean, it's like these women are told, don't smile because you'll form, pretty frown lines, which are actually your smile. It elevates your whole persona when you're smiling. And they tell people, all these models, they don't smile. And they're injecting botulism substance that freezes their expression. And the long-term side effects have never been studied. It can cause muscle wasting because the muscles can forget their function because you're always stopping them from moving properly. So virtually no long-term data on the effects of Botox. Most clinical observations only track people for a few months. So, of course, my approach is to support how our cells and tissues function with magnesium as a cornerstone. And it has so many effects on longevity itself. It protects telomeres, telomeres. And those are the caps at the ends of chromosomes that protect them from unraveling or getting attached to another chromosome, like the plastic cap at the end of a shoelace. So telomeres getting shorter as we age. Longevity researchers are desperately trying to find ways to protect our telomeres, and they're looking for a drug, and they're ignoring magnesium, which is already doing that. And partly I think it's because telomeres are damaged by environmental factors that are treatable and preventable by therapeutic levels of magnesium. And I write about all this telomere research in the Magnesium Miracle book. And the whole thing about magnesium, when you look at all levels of it, it helps kick out lead. It helps impress on the immune system what it needs to be doing. So it elevates the immune system, starts getting rid of yeast overgrowth. It works on your 640 muscles to help relax them. It works on your 45 miles of nerves, helping to keep them from getting twitchy and excitable. So magnesium, it's a head to toe supplement, and it works on inflammation as well. And of course, it should be our picometer stabilized ion of magnesium at about 600 milligrams a day. So you work up to that. It's a liquid. You drink it in sea salted water. You can put our vitamin C berry powder in the liquid just for a better taste. And then there's vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, I think I talked about it last week. Somebody say, oh, vitamin D is bad. I mean, you can make a story up about anything. So vitamin D is a prohormone which regulates the production of hormones as well as aiding the absorption of calcium to protect our bones. Most vitamin D blood tests show that we may need about 5,000 IUs a day, along with vitamin K2. And magnesium is necessary for the activation of vitamin D. And then the B complex, we use a methylated food-based B complex along with 2 sulfur-based amino acids in the formula, all doing detoxification and supporting methylation. And our, again, for anti-aging and for the brain, picometer stabilized mineral complex that supports thyroid hormone production and all the other hormones. And I think the best thing about the brain, I think it's in the article, is that there are 2 million mitochondria in each brain cell, each brain neuron. So these 2 million mitochondria, each mitochondria has a number of Krebs cycles going on at the same time. The Krebs cycle makes ATP energy, adenosine triphosphate, but ATP needs magnesium. And the final formula of ATP is really ATP-MG. So anything you ever hear about mitochondria, you just say, okay, yeah, I better take my picometer magnesium, because those 2 million mitochondria in each neuron need a lot of magnesium ions. And you can get them from our picometer magnesium. So there we go, Ginny. Over to you. See if we have any questions before I go on to Maha.
Well, one thing I will say is Michelle was at the hair salon talking to all the ladies about Remag and Remite, and they're all very interested 'cause she's bragging about her dad. But I will say, you should become an affiliate, because if any of those people were to buy the formulas, you would get a lifetime compensation every time they buy. It's a small commission. It's not like you're going to pay down your mortgage with it. Well, I don't know, you might, depends on how busy you get. Some of our affiliates do make a lot of money, but the point is always, if you're going to be referring people, become an affiliate. If you're not one yet, reach out to customer support and they'll let you know how to do it. They'll hook you up.
Good. Yeah, we depend on our customers to spread the word, because we've been muzzled. We cannot say or it's just horrible that we're not able to tell you how much we can help you. So that's where we depend on our customers and friends.
That's right. That's
Thank
right.
you. Over to Maha.
Over to Maha.
Okay, Ginny got me hooked on grok, and I'm trying to use it wisely. But oh my gosh, Ginny, you wouldn't believe it. Yesterday, Saturday when we were going up to the farm store, Julie and I, and I was asking grok stuff, and they wouldn't quit. I said stop, and then Julie and I would talk about something, and Grok would come in and comment on what we were saying. And I said, how can I make you stop? Oh, just say stop. So I'd say stop. I had to shut off my phone.
That's funny. Does it remind you of anybody else you know who wouldn't stop?
Oh, I can make them stop. I can. Okay, so Grok says that the Make America Healthy Again movement. I'm asked about Codex Alimentaris. Is Maha going to do something about the U.S. being involved with and signing on to Codex Alimentaris, which is the World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, and something else, trying to regulate uh, toxins in the food supply and regulate the amounts of ingredients, I guess you could say, in dietary supplements. So when I attended Codex meetings twice over in Europe, they were trying to make as many and as much toxins as possible in the food supply and as low amounts, low quality synthetic dietary supplements, because they said dietary supplements interfere with drugs. So they had to be low potency and synthetic. So that's what we're up against with Codex. So Grog says that Maha movement addresses Codex primarily through advocacy for health freedom, opposition to perceived global overreach in food standards, and efforts to influence or counter its guidelines on nutrition, additives, and supplements. Maha supporters actively participate in Codex sessions to challenge restrictive standards. And the National Health Federation, that's where I met that group back in the day. I was involved with a Canadian nonprofit that went to these meetings. And in March 2025, Sergi, J.I., he's a prominent health freedom advocate and Maha proponent, attended Codex in Seoul. And as an NHF delegate, his goal was to defend health freedom and help rewrite the rules of global food policy. Good luck. It's not going to happen. He wanted to link this to expanding Maha principles internationally. I mean, these people in Codex, and I probably told this story before, in the Rome meeting, I saw a nonprofit for kind of a breastfeeding league stand up and say, the amount of toxins you're allowing in breast milk is dangerous to babies. And somehow the whoever was Germany was chairing the meeting. I think they're in charge. So whoever was the chairman, he put that woman down. He told her not to get emotional. He turned the table. He didn't take her seriously. He told her, got personal, told her not to get emotional. And this is how in these meetings they control what they want. They want as much toxins as possible in breast milk and everything else, and as low quality as possible in nutrients. So, Sergi is not going to get anywhere, I can assure you. And Sergi highlighted how Codex influences U.S. regulations on vitamins, minerals, and natural remedies, which are areas Maha seeks to deregulate for greater access to preventive health options, and on and on. And I asked, is America still in Codex? And have they pulled out yet? Because that's what they should do. And they said, as of October 16, 2025, no executive orders, legislation, or official statements indicate rejection of Codex. The U.S. continues to fund and engage. So that's something that we should definitely be looking into. Back to you, Ginny.
Fantastic. That's a great update, Carolyn. Thank you. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you have a question here on the chat line that's not answered during the course of the conversation, if it's too medical, we won't answer it. We can't answer medical questions on the chat line. So if you have a medical question, you may have to direct it to customer service and they'll distribute a response to you accordingly. Okay, very good. Carolyn, what's next?
Okay, questions and comments. Um, I think this is Dora saying, it seems like every week I have a different question about whether a supplement is safe for this and that. I really don't have a good source and constantly run into posts saying this and that is dangerous for this and that. For example, I just read that vitamins A, E, and K are bad for people that have kidney and liver issues. Is that true? Okay, so this is another half truth. Well, actually, it's more like a quarter truth. Um, those three vitamins are fat soluble. And if you take enormous amounts of them, they could be a problem. They could build up in the body. But the only one that actually could cause any harm could be vitamin A. But an Inuit diet, the Eskimo Inuit diet, has 1,000 times more vitamin A than a standard American diet. So, there vitamin A, they say 5,000 units, I think, a day is safe, but there have been cases of people who take enormous, like 200,000 units, and taking that amount for long periods of time can get you in trouble. So they scare everybody about these three nutrients. We use A, E, and K, but we use it in recommended daily allowance amounts, low potency amounts. And someone here, I have a question. I'm currently taking your minerals and magnesium liquid. If I add ascorbic acid, won't I be overdosing on minerals? So I didn't really know what that meant because ascorbic acid is a vitamin, not a mineral. So we'll leave it at that until they get back to us. Another question. I recently had an appointment with a TCM, traditional Chinese medicine doctor. Now, TCM doctors really are not traditional Chinese medicine. When I didn't train, but I took classes with a true Chinese medicine doctor. He was a ordained monk in 3 traditions. He spent his whole life studying Chinese medicine. The TCM doctors, they at a certain time in China, they sort of put Chinese medicine into a box and had people, practitioners, study just a little box of things. So anyway, this TCM doctor looked at some, what he said is soft deposits on my thumb, and he told me they were mineral deposits and to stop taking minerals and to use a filtered, what is it, use bottled water instead of his filtered tap water. So he said, I don't know what to do. I'm a little nervous because he said that mineral deposits into tissue if they are not absorbed. And he said they're like little gel-like bumps on his thumb knuckles. Now, I don't know what that is, but first of all, our minerals are low potency. They're fully absorbed. They don't precipitate anywhere. And the magnesium you take at like 600 milligrams a day will help dissolve mineral deposits. But a gel-like bump, it does not sound like a mineral deposit. I mean, could it be warts? I mean, seriously, gel-like is not mineral. I would get a second opinion, and if it's warts, I would use clay mixed with picometer silver as a poultice on the joint. And I would also look at, what thumbs mean in German New Medicine, but I couldn't really find a succinct answer. But there could be a reason why the thumbs are involved. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. Another question. I love taking your magnesium. I feel relief from cramping. The cramps were constant and painful. You gave me relief, but how much should I take? I'm telling most people that probably 600 milligrams is a good amount to aim for. I had to take 1,200 milligrams for over a year to get rid of my heart palpitations, and now I only take 450 to 600 milligrams a day. And then he's saying, Dr. Artis recommends 1,600 milligrams for eye health. And that's great. I'm saying people probably need 5,000 milligrams for heart health. So the eyes would be taken care of. And the eyes, yes, absolutely. They need vitamin C. It's essential for collagen production, which is crucial for maintaining the integrity of eye structures, including the cornea and blood vessels. And the vitamin C also plays a role in reducing oxidative stress, protecting the eyes from UV damage, and potentially lowering the risk of age-related eye diseases such as cataracts and macular degeneration. While more vitamin C intake may not directly improve vision, it is important for overall eye health, etc., etc. And one other question, there's more. In my personal opinion, lack of nutrients would be the main cause of health issues. Correct? Question mark. And I said yes. And that was from Dora. And here's a question from Lily in China, and it's about liver flushes. But it's a very sweet email. She says, I purchased several English original books written by you on Amazon and learned that you have over 40 years of guidance and practical experience in natural therapy. So, well, if you look at before med school, I did get involved. So we're talking about 55 years. She said, I have a question about natural therapy. I would like to consult you about. I really cannot find anyone in China to ask. Are you familiar with the book, The Liver and Gallbladder Flush? It is a book about cleansing the liver, and we have been practicing this method in China. So what that is, it's various forms of drinking drinking an oil. I'm going to make a mistake here and say it's the wrong oil. Ginny, can you look up gallbladder flush and find out what oil they're using? Yeah. So she says, some of our partners have undergone the liver and gallbladder cleanse, but still have not achieved health. I guess it's said if you clean up your liver, then all will be exposed. And she said they continue to show symptoms of magnesium deficiency. Of course, then you really need our picometer magnesium. And then every time we perform the liver and gallbladder cleanse, we are able to pass stones. Can the liver really hold so many stones? Okay, Ginny?
Yes, love. The oil is olive oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Of course, I've done this. I've done everything. And when I did the olive oil lemon juice fast,
Oof.
and even the smell of olive oil for years after it made me ugh. And what it does is the olive oil supposedly opens up the bile ducts and flushes out any stones or excess bile in the liver. But I never recommended it, because if you have a stone that's too big to pass, it'll stick in the bile duct and cause a lot of problems. And, you may have to have surgery. So it's not something I would ever recommend. And this business about every time you do it, you'll hear stories about, oh, I passed 40 stones and 50, and the next time it was more. But what's happening there is the olive oil will mix with the bile and form little round balls that look like stones. So they're maybe the first few stones that are passed are solid and have some, calcification. But usually they're just the olive oil mixed with bile. So I guess what I'd say is knowing all that, having done liver flushes myself, and then in my formula saying, well, what can I do to support the liver on an ongoing basis so you don't have to do these dramatic things? And that's where our Realign formula comes into play, because it's got the food-based methylated bees, 8 of them. Excuse me. It's got taurine and methionine. They're both sulfur-based amino acids, and sulfur is the molecule that you need for the sulfation detoxification in the liver, and methionine is methylated as well. So you've got your methylation detoxification, sulfation detoxification, and many other things. And then you're taking our picometer magnesium, which is boosting the immune system and helping you detox. So that's where I go. And I do worry about liver cleanses and liver flushes, because the liver can harbor viruses kind of to protect us from those viruses. And I have heard the concern that if you're doing liver detox, you can liberate these viruses. So I'm not keen on any sort of harsh detox. So there you go, Ginny. That's our questions and answers. We've really had a lot of information there, and we haven't even gone into pros and cons of supplements. But are there any questions on your end?
Yes, a couple questions here. One of which is, can taking 5 pills of the Flora Revive with Saccharomyces boulardii for a yeast infection for a prolonged time cause an unhealthy imbalance with other good probiotic species in the gut?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a straight answer.
I mean, what I would say about that is you go to someone and do some muscle testing, or learn the O-ring muscle testing. Ask your body, how does it feel? Saccharomyces boulardii is a type of yeast that crowds out Candida albicans. I don't know that it crowds out other things, but we talk about 2 a day. 5 is a lot. And what you would do if you're on that sort of regimen is make sure you're getting probiotics from other sources, like your kimchi, sauerkraut, a good yogurt that has probiotics. Yeah, I think I have to leave it there. But Pico Silver, of course, is very important. And maybe call customer service to find out, is there something missing? What would that be? Just looking at all the other nutrients. Is this person on enough magnesium to support the immune system and everything that's going on? And in terms of even the total biology of what yeast means to a person, is there something there that we can look at? Grief is a big thing with Candida.
Very good. Excellent. Julie wants to know, Julie, is it bad to take collagen peptides?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this, and my concern is, where do they make the collagen? What's it made from? Can they get human collagen and give it back to us? No, they can't. And what's the source? And if we know that vitamin C is a precursor for collagen, could we not just use vitamin C and the protein and it would have to be an animal-based diet, I would think. Good protein from organic beef, organic chicken, even fish. I'm so concerned about these days because of the mercury content. So I think we can make our own collagen if we have the right building blocks of vitamin C, and magnesium is at work there as well. So I'm not keen on the collagen peptides.
Very good. Karen wants to know, will your Pico Silver make a person turn blue if you take too much?
No, that happened with just a few people, but I even saw one of these blue men at a conference once, a health conference, and it's from, I think it was people who started making their own colloidal silver, a silver compound. Ours is just a straight silver at a low potency because we can stabilize the silver ion. It doesn't have to be a high potency. So no, there's no danger of that.
And also, our product does have a max dose recommendation on the bottle. It's 6 teaspoons a day, and that's if you're in an extreme immune situation. Most people just take a teaspoon a day, so you'll want to stay within the dosing guidelines for sure.
Right.
Okay, I think we're good. Shannon is here saying hi to you, Carolyn, and Corinne in customer service. Everybody wants to say hi, Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. We almost didn't get on with the huge worldwide internet hack shutdown. We all have to be
About a
prepared.
gallbladder flush.
Yeah.
I just flushed all the trash right out of the internet. That's a good day.
Oh, fun. Okay. Pros and cons of supplements, drugs, and research. On we go. Okay, Mark Hyman, who I mentioned before, Dr. Mark Hyman, he's a natural medicine doctor, I guess is what we're calling ourselves these days. He was on a podcast talking about the 5 causes of autoimmune disease. And he said there could be 80 million people suffering autoimmune disease. I think he meant worldwide. And, Ginny, they call it AI disease. So in AI, we've got autoimmune disease at the same time as AI is surfacing hugely. There's something going on there. So his approach is to do the $1 million workup for inflammatory conditions, infections, food allergies, heavy metals, intestinal dysbiosis, and the few functional medicine doctors that there are that do this testing, they're usually not covered by insurance, and most of them are all booked up. So I looked up, there's over 1 million doctors in the US and only about 2,000 are functional medicine doctors. So he's suggesting all this testing, which means you need to go to. So for those of you who've been listening, they know what I say about autoimmune disease. It's caused by yeast overgrowth and magnesium deficiency. So Mark didn't mention yeast once, didn't mention magnesium once. He did mention mold, and he did say SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth towards the end. And that was because one of his young patients had yeast from all her antibiotics. So that's a normal situation. But I talk about yeast overgrowth in general. So here's what Mark said, and I'll show you how our formulas work on each of these triggers: toxins, heavy metals, pesticides, mold. So with heavy metals, we're using our magnesium and multiple minerals to put minerals in the receptor sites to saturate the body with the minerals so that heavy metals don't have a place to land. That's what's happening. When you're mineral deficient, heavy metals will just take their place. And as for pesticides, I mean, that's a detox. That's where I've already mentioned about our Realign that detoxifies the liver. Mold, that's where we do a yeast treatment to treat mold and yeast. And that's our Flora Revive and Pico Silver. The second one is allergies, gluten and dairy. He says gluten drives inflammation, causes leaky gut. So what do we do with our yeast diet? It avoids sugar, gluten, and dairy. Microbes, talks about tick, viral, hidden infections, intestinal dysbiosis, did not mention candida. And this is where, we're working with our Pico Silver. And with, with the fall coming and being told to take flu shots, which are in the latest Cochrane study, flu shots are minus 26% effective. And that means it doesn't help. It kind of makes things worse. So we have to protect ourselves with our Flora Refresh. It's a spray that you can use as a hand wash, or just I call it like a barrier method of protection when you're out in public. That, and I don't, I use it more just for the onslaught of humans, not so much the infectious organisms. And the tick business, now that's interesting because ticks will come from a bite, a mosquito or a bug. Yeah, a tick bite, not a mosquito. A tick bite that has bitten a deer. There's this transference of, I can't even remember the name of the organism that causes tick-borne disease. But as far as I learned from total biology and germ new medicine, it does happen in people who are vulnerable, immune suppressed, kind of out of their depth. They've just moved to a place. It's kind of confusing, the whole thing. But what I say about tick and every other condition is, if you're physically strong with the right vitamins and minerals to support you, then you are not prey. Predators come to weakened organisms. So don't make yourselves prey. And number 4, poor diet. So, I mean, that's why I'm very big on my biodynamic organic farm, so that we aren't eating unrefined, omega-6 oils. We're not eating processed foods. We have healthy organic food. So that's very important if people can possibly afford it. Now, the thing about affordability is, if you get your nutrients, a couple $100 a month of all our formulas, you have the nutrients that you're looking for in your food, and you seem to need less food. I mean, I'm just eating 2 meals a day, for example. And so poor diet is consequential, but you cannot heal yourself with food anymore. Food is not your medicine. And then number 5, they talk about stress. Now, stress, when I said food is not your medicine, actually muscles are your medicine. And this is something, the research I've been looking into for the longevity talk, is the more you move around, the more you move your muscles. Your muscles help metabolize your sugar. They help your immune system. I mean, muscles help you relax, but for your muscles, you need magnesium. For stress, you need magnesium. To keep your cortisol down, you need magnesium. So Mark's 5 causes of autoimmune, and then when he went into all the details, it just seemed overwhelming. It really seemed too much. Oh, and then there's toxins in your water, and then there's the air, and you have to get all these things, and it's just too much. When I can be concise and say yeast overgrowth, which affects the microbiome, and magnesium and mineral deficiencies, then you get a grasp of what you can do about it. And so there you go. There you go, Jenny.
Very good. That's great. And I think that the things that he's promoting and saying are very common among functional doctors right now. They're absolutely running down the list and making it so complicated.
Mhm.
All the different things that people have to be afraid of and concerned with, that
Mhm.
it's like whack-a-mole. One thing goes down and the next thing pops up, and you can't possibly actually, quote unquote, conquer your body or have any hope that you're going to recover. And it's very interesting. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, Carolyn, but since I won't say that. what I will say is you do have to have confidence in your body, and you've got to give it the building blocks, and you've got to trust in grace, like we talked about earlier. There
Mhm.
is grace for you, and you just do your very best, and God's going to meet you with the rest. That's all you can do, because this will just go on forever. And I'll tell you what, this testing is expensive, expensive. What are you going to do? Keep driving to more tests, more tests, more tests, more tests. And I think having a baseline on a couple of things is important. We've talked about that before, but this kind of stuff is very, very difficult on people and their budgets. You'd be better off to just invest. That's why Carolyn quit doing consults, because she said, I have people are going to pay me for a consult, and then I'm just going to tell them to take my products. I don't want the money. I
Mhm.
want them to invest the money for the consult in the product. Just get going. Just
Mhm.
invest 30 days. You're going to be amazed at how much better you feel.
Right.
And honestly, that is so true.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um,
Yeah, and then I didn't need to do consults because Jenny got to work, and she trained customer service to, talk like I do, to say the words of, yeah, magnesium deficiency. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if the FDA will, come after us for this, but we would say, do you have a heart condition, or do you have a magnesium deficiency condition? Let's treat your magnesium deficiency condition and see how things level out. I would say to people who I consulted with, take the products. It'll take care of most of what's going on, and what's left over, go out and get some testing. But
right.
if you're testing for things like food allergy, and that's related to yeast overgrowth, well, there's $2,000 gone right there. Whereas if you treat the yeast with a couple of our formulas, then you don't have those symptoms anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I missed a question earlier. I just want to get in because it's a simple, elegant question. And that is, do you think if you use Remag lotion and castor oil on your arms, it will help with crepey skin?
I've heard that, yeah, castor oil is good for the crepey skin, but I guess I've been using Remag lotion and mm, castor oil. Yeah, I did start to use a little bit on my face, but it's just so mucky. It's just so dense, it just sticks to you. But apparently it is useful. You see any oil, you can put olive oil on. You read through all the hints and tips and hacks, and you can go crazy again because there's so many choices.
That's right. That's
So
right. Yeah, that's right.
it's kind of rotate. I think part of it, Ginny, is when you're doing something uh, intentional for your health, for your skin, for whatever. The body gets the message,
Yes.
and it says, "Oh my gosh, she wants to have sex.
Yes.
Okay, let's give it to her."
Yeah,
Seriously,
I
that's
agree.
what placebo effect is. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
use that.
I agree. Absolutely. Just telling your body that you want an improvement is the beginning of the improvement. And
Yes.
we'll make the adjustments, and you don't have to make it complicated. Carolyn, we're at the top of the hour. What would you like to do?
Let me do at least one article, Ginny,
Uh,
please.
do as many as you want. Sure.
Okay. Okay, I love this article. Over to the articles, the integral role of magnesium in muscle integrity and aging. So, as you can see, my longevity theme here. So, the abstract says aging is characterized by significant physiological changes, with the degree of decline varying significantly among individuals. So everybody's different. The preservation of intrinsic capacity. I hate their words. It's like $1 million words. They have to eat up their grant budget on all these words. Anyway, the preservation of capacity over the course of an individual's lifespan is fundamental for healthy aging. Okay, fine. And then they say magnesium is an essential mineral that plays a central role in approximately 800 biochemical reactions within the human body. So I said it's probably 1,000, but I've got a reference for 600. Now I've got a reference for 800. Magnesium is an indispensable stabilizing factor in the orchestration of diverse cellular reactions and organelle functions, thereby rendering it irreplaceable in processes directly impacting muscle health. This narrative review offers a comprehensive exploration of the pivotal role played by magnesium in maintaining skeletal muscle integrity, emphasizing the critical importance of maintaining optimal magnesium levels for promoting healthy aging. Now, this is really important. I'm getting fed all kinds of articles on aging because I'm looking at podcasts and all the rest of it. So the big word out there about muscle aging is sarcopenia, and that's just where muscles get thin and whatever. You lose your muscles. And they almost say as you age, you can't build muscles. It's not true. And I will show this muscle once again that I regrew after, slamming my elbow on a concrete floor, not breaking anything, but my arm turned to a noodle, and I could have left it like that. Some people would do, but no. I just, with my 3-pound weight, I built my muscle back even bigger than before. So, and maybe it's because I'm saturated with magnesium. Maybe it's because I eat meat and organic meat, organic chicken, and my restructure. I antidote my avocado, coconut cream, banana, cacao pudding with restructure to pretend I'm eating something healthy, and it's pretty healthy. So you can grow your muscles at any age, and you've seen the stories. You've seen YouTubes of, so and so in their 70s started doing marathon racing. And then I'll do the next study too, Rachel. Effect of magnesium supplementation on endothelial function. Now, the endothelium, that's the inside of blood vessels. So in this study, they say, we examined the effects of magnesium supplementation on blood vessel dilation and carotid artery thickness. Magnesium supplementation increased dilation in adult subjects and decreased carotid artery thickness. So when I found this, I also saw Dr. Nick Norwich, Norwiz, WICZ podcasts about the beneficial effects of coffee on the heart. The coffee industry just won't quit trying to give coffee a happy ending. So the research has found that there's some chlorogenic acid found in coffee dilates blood vessels and therefore can reduce blood pressure. Also, it's anti-inflammatory and lowers cholesterol. But remember what I've been saying, and this was mice studies. So remember what I've been saying about mice studies. Mice make their own vitamin C, so that factor negates all this blood vessel business with coffee. So those are two studies there. So important what magnesium does to blood vessels, and it's also very important what vitamin C does to blood vessels. It is making the collagen that makes these blood vessels strong, and it's magnesium actually in those blood vessels that makes elastin, which makes them flexible and able to dilate. It's magnesium that creates nitric acid, which also dilates blood vessels. There's so many awesome things that magnesium does, and they're studying it more and more now, but they still don't know how to prescribe it. This Nick Norwich, he's not telling people to take magnesium. We'll have to send him some of our Remag. So I think I'll stop there, Ginny.
Okay, very good. Well, that was a stellar show, Carolyn. Lots of great information, lots of very good, unique content. And thank you once again for responding to everybody's questions. And we've got so many other great things stacked up for next week's show because Carolyn didn't even get half to this week's show. So much to say. Just remember, any information that you'd like to find about Carolyn, drcarolyndean.com. Be sure to peruse all the pages and follow up and share this content with friends and family members, especially those loved ones that you know are struggling. I mean, anybody who's aging prematurely, anybody who's got blood vessel integrity issues, including anything to do with high blood pressure, whatever, they need to know these truths so that they can be set free with our Remag, which is found at rnareset.com. Go to RNA Reset. To encounter all Carolyn's proprietary formulas. Our clinical research is there. All the blogs, all the information is fantastic. And then, of course, remember picopets.com, which is where you'll be able to find the same level of care and quality for your family pets. And I think that's about it, Carolyn, right?
Yeah, we'll have to get a slide for the vets and for the athletes too.
Yep, we'll be getting out. There'd be so many slides, so many people, just a huge party. Probably have to make the show longer just to be able to talk about all the good stuff.
Oh, look, I'm wearing the same thing. I
No, you have even more jewelry on.
Jewelry. Different and more jewelry. Yes.
Different and more. There you go. Excellent. Excellent.
So
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Internet, for holding up so we could get all this great information out to everybody. Yay! Thank you, Amazon.
To Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Aloha. Aloha.
Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.